Okay, cool. So I'll do my own countdown. Three, two, one. Ready? Okay. What's my middle name? I'm joking.
No, wait, is it recording?
Yes, I'm recording.
Oh, sorry, man. I was changing tabs.
Oh, that's okay. I asked you a tricky question, admittedly.
What was that?
What's my middle name?
Majority? I don't know.
Majora Ginger Tea. That one's for Terry. All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Majority Cast Returns. And this time I'm returning with a stellar guest, one who I'm actually not sure if I've ever collabed with on my own channel, Mr. SNES Mapper. Welcome to the Majority Cast.
Hey, thanks, Teddy, for the invite. Always a big fan of the segment of the Majority Speaks. Lots of interesting topics, so I'm pretty excited to be part of this conversation here.
Absolutely, and I'm sure we're going to come up with some great topics of our own. First, I want to kick it off with, I know you are you have an exquisite taste in beers, as do I. So I was wondering, what beer, if you could crack one open right now, would you go for?
Oh man, it's about summertime. I usually go for like a wheat beer, like a Hefeweizen. So that sounds good actually. Now I was recording earlier and I was drinking a milk stout, a Llama Mama from a local brewery here in Florida. But any Hefeweizen, any wheat beer, it's pretty getting hot out there. So I'm down for any wheat beers.
Those hefts, man, I love them too. There's one by Weihenstephaner that I like, and then there's another
Dude,
one.
that's my favorite.
That's a really good one. There's another good one. I cannot remember the name. It's escaping me. You probably know it.
Yeah, the Weihenstephaner, however you pronounce that, is like one of the oldest breweries in the world, and they make my favorite wheat beer. The one that with the blue label, whatever it's called. It's just great.
They have like a dark Hefeweizen that's terrific. If you can find that one, I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah, there is like a Heffenbach or something like called Aventinus. Tinus, I don't know how you pronounce that, but that's one of my favorite beers out there, and man, it's really good.
I'll have to keep my eyes peeled. So let's kick things off. We've been talking recently. I love how you do. You've been such a great community member and responder, especially within the circles that I'm affiliated with and the button mappers. I love seeing your community responses. I love seeing when you do video responses to the salient topics. What what do you think like the role of video responses are in the modern YouTube era?
I think it's an important way to I guess communicate with each other and try to expand our audience. I know some things got eliminated. The old video response format that was both a blessing and a curse in a way, because I think the reason why it got removed was people were abusing it for the wrong reasons. I would have preferred if they kept it, because it just make things a little bit easier to find other video responses. But I think it's an important way to kind of shout out other channels in a way, and us being in a smaller community, I think it's key to make things easier for other people to find like-minded people and topics that you want to discuss. So I do appreciate that you're one of the channels that are really pushing this this feature, I guess, this video response medium, not only by encouraging people to do video responses, but I like how you create playlists that can be easily accessible, and people can I guess search for videos in there. So it's not as effective in my opinion as it used to be, but it's something that I wish people would do more nowadays.
That's actually, I love that you brought up the playlist thing, because I remember going on your channel and looking at a playlist of video responses that you've done to other videos. And then there was one that you did to me like in 2017 on perfectionism on YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, this playlist thing, this works, man. I wish,
Yeah.
people neglect that, I think people think it's all like doom and gloom. You can't find channels on YouTube, but really there's a lot of exploits I think people don't tap into. I haven't figured it out, but I'm always kind of testing the waters and seeing what works. I do think that the YouTube of 5 years ago and 10 years ago are way different than today. Do you feel like a lot has been lost over the course of time in YouTube gaming content?
It depends on how you look at it. I think the smaller community, the tight knit type of community that we have, the format, that's been lost a little bit. I think it used to be more of a thing just to have a smaller YouTube channel where you sit down in front of a camera, no scripts, crappy editing. It used to be a more accepted form of making YouTube content. I think nowadays, for whatever reason, people are discouraged. I think people just people just want to go to the, high resolution videos and gameplay videos, green screen on the back, special effects. So I don't know if it's a lack of, maybe views or subscribers. I know it's frustrating because, it's always good, to get more views and subscribers. But I think, it's hard to obtain that nowadays with a smaller channel as opposed to back in the day where it was more acceptable. I feel like nowadays it's so easy to make better content just because you can grab your phone, even like cheaper phones now, you can record 4K. You can buy like cheap, Chinese microphones on Amazon that are pretty decent quality and so forth. So I think the editing and the expectations for high quality videos are up there, and that's discouraging, I think, a lot of people from doing what we do.
Yeah, I think it's also made it feel like there's a backwater effect or something where it's like, oh, the old community got filtered out and they're getting replaced with all these, uppity, high scale channels. When really, I think that the people who want the realness factor, that real, like, just person in front of the camera talking, whatever, just throw some gameplay on it if you want, that's still there. I don't think it's disappeared. I just think that, well, part of it is the YouTube problem in that YouTube has gone out of their way to push content. And they push content with stupid thumbnails that work, and and my face is like, and maybe I'll use that for the thumbnail for this one. I don't know, but there we go. Maybe we can sync one at the end. But I also I think people do appreciate that kind of like old school factor and seeing it in the modern day, and really. I do feel like there are inclusive communities in YouTube, and there isn't an expectation that everybody is like a Watch Mojo channel,
Yeah, I agree. I think if you look hard enough, you're gonna find people like our channels where we're smaller, but I think I enjoy the small vibe and feel of channels, man. Most of my gaming content that I consume through YouTube is smaller channels. I love watching your videos. VG Mashup, Leo's. All the people in our community. But I do watch bigger channels as well. ACG. Every now and then, Metal Jesus Rocks and channels like that. But I think I don't mind the the low quality or the low budget I guess setup that some of us have here, but I think it's just the personality and just hearing true and honest reviews or impressions. I think that's what matters the most to me, at least.
I do think too that there is like a kind of work ethic thing that comes into this too, because it's so easy to fall off of making content and to go through those dry spells. Maybe it's lack of creativity, maybe it's just kind of disenchantment with the whole medium and like the whole like seeing other people grow. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever felt like there have been dry spells?
Yeah, there have been. I'm typically not influenced by the, I guess, low view counts or low subscriber count. because I'm used to it. I opened my channel. I think I was checking in October of 2006, and I made two videos back in '07, and then I had a huge gap just because I was in school and YouTube wasn't my thing. But I restarted my channel in 2012. And yeah, throughout the years, I had some gaps here and there, but I've been pretty consistent with my content. I had some 3-4 months gaps in here and there, but like I keep saying, I do this for myself, as a as a hobby, and if people want to interact, that's the fun part. But if I get 30-40 views per videos, it sucks in a way, but in a way I'm happy doing it. I enjoy editing the videos and making the content and just having my impressions and so forth.
We could go into a whole talk about like hobbies and monetizing them, but I kind of want to stray from that. I feel like we talk about that a lot, so we could just talk about the creative aspect of it. I've definitely gravitated towards the medium because I had a passion for it, and I loved making videos and seeing people make videos about video games and getting gameplay footage, as annoying as it is. Just the whole creative process and seeing what you can come up with. I think one of the things that I struggle with is that perfectionism on YouTube. And like, even just before we did this, I did a log for Chrono Cross, and I was, I was like, it was good, but can I do another take? Can I say it better? And so I go through those spells, like, because of the hobby or the passion. And so, how do you reconcile, the thought of like doing the perfect take with the enjoyment?
Yeah, my videos are typically unscripted, and it just off the cuff, whatever comes to mind. So they're not the most elegant or the most I guess well spoken videos out there. I typically don't stress too much about having the perfect take, but I do have every now and then I restart my videos once or twice, every once in a while. I guess one of my staples in my channel is, I'm just sitting in front of the camera, very poor editing, and just whatever comes to my mind. So thankfully I'm not aiming for that perfection, because if I try to do that, I think it can be very frustrating, trying to find the perfect type of video and flow.
Yeah, I agree with that in a sense of like, not getting too caught up in the editing, trying to keep it simpler. But you got beautiful thumbnails, man, I gotta say.
Yeah, that is something that I did work on. I was able to get like a very cheap, graphics software. And I was like, hey, I wanna make some pretty thumbnails, because my thumbnails, they used to be just like my face, without anything. So I decided to actually, it took me a while because I have over 400 videos. So I made thumbnails not only for my present videos, but I went all the way back. So I made thumbnails for impressions videos that I recorded like 6-7 years ago. And it was pretty fun. I had a lot of fun, getting the right wallpaper and just making the editing process. Once I set up a template, it was kind of easy, just getting the background image and so forth. But yeah, that was part of the fun of trying to, I guess, add some color to the channel.
Yeah, definitely. It does give it a nice kind of feel and look. What's the Let's kind of transition more to the games now. What kind of brought you into making kind of like commentary style videos on games?
Yeah, for me, it was a way to kind of like a blueprint of my journey through playing games. I noticed that as I got older, I'm playing more games, obviously, because I'm buying more games. I have disposable income, as opposed to when I was, younger or a teenager. I depended on what my parents gifted me during Christmas and birthdays. So as an adult, I noticed I'm playing more games, I'm completing more games, but a lot of those games are somewhat forgettable. Especially like shorter games. I'm just gonna throw an example like Dante's Inferno for the PS3. It was a very enjoyable game, but it's one of those games that I don't foresee myself ever replaying the game. So I did want to record my thoughts, once I'm done with the game, kind of record my thoughts just so I have a kind of like a memory of that game that I can always revisit without having to play the entire game. So that's kind of like my thoughts behind doing impressions videos. Ideally, I want to be able to do an impressions video for every single game I beat, which is it's kind of hard. But that's the thought process on my channel as far as the games.
Mm-hmm. And which were you most impressed with?
I don't think I have a favorite impressions video.
Well, let
Typically,
me ask it a different way. So, like, which game maybe made the strongest impressions on you in recent memory?
In recent memory, I want to say a game that got re-released this year on the Switch, which is Super Mario 3D World. That game came out on the Wii U originally in 2013, and 2013 I was like, okay, that year The Last of Us came out for the PS3. BioShock Infinite came out also on the PS3, and I'm a huge BioShock fan. So I was like, okay, BioShock Infinite is gonna get the #1 game of the year for me. And then The Last of Us came out, and obviously that game blew me away. I was, addicted to it. So I was like, it's between BioShock Infinite and The Last of Us. But then Super Mario 3D World came out, and that game triggered like something very. I felt like almost being a kid again. Playing like the first time I played Super Mario World. I was just blown away at how colorful and fun and joyful the game was, and Super Mario 3D World was able to convey similar emotions to me as an adult, which I thought it was very impressive and very effective, and hence why I chose that as my game of 2013 over the AAA super high budget, BioShock Infinite and The Last of Us. So I had a lot of fun making an impressions video on that game, and I'm a little bit disappointed on the Switch remaster that they did, because they added like a boost speed to the characters that makes it a little bit annoying to control. But other than that, it's a great game, and I had a lot of fun doing videos for it.
Yeah, people underestimate the big Nintendo, but they really come through with those Mario games.
I'm telling you, I love them.
Yeah. Super Nintendo map where it all started, right? With the Super Mario.
That's where it all started. Super Mario World. That was the game that got me into gaming, and yeah.
So I know you say that you mostly prefer like modern gaming as opposed to old school. Can you talk a little bit about that? What leads you towards modern games over retro?
Yeah, I feel like, being kind of like an older gamer at this point, I feel like I'm pretty content with the amount of games that I have played in every generation. So for the Super Nintendo, I believe I played most of the heavy hitters. Same with the Nintendo 64. I played most of the, AAA first party games. So those are experiences that I already experienced. So I'm always open to like the new latest and greatest experiences, because I already, for me, it's hard to go back and perhaps enjoy a Super Nintendo game that I have not played back in the day to the fullest. One of my goals this year was, inspired by you guys, but mostly, Spencer, is to play Chrono Trigger. I didn't really delve too much into RPGs back in the day, so I'm kind of hesitant. I don't think I'm gonna feel like Chrono Trigger is a mind-blowing game like it was back in the day. But hence why I tend to just gravitate towards the new releases to experience those games at the present time.
Well, if you do play Chrono Trigger, you're gonna set yourself up nicely for Chrono Cross. It complements the successor very well. So like to play them in tandem. So definitely one of those games that's not lost to time. But I would push you on that too. So I'm going to keep pushing you to play these Super Nintendo games and map them out with us. So, but I'm happy to hear that.
How far are you in Chrono Cross? Because I think you were still working on it, right?
Just beat it with a play log of 42 hours.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I liked Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger was good, but Chrono Cross just hit a little differently.
Cool.
Do you ever feel like were there any consoles that that you missed that you want to like go explore a little more?
A lot of them. One of my, I guess, favorite things when I was a kid was to flip through video game magazines and look at the advertisements for things like the Atari Jaguar, for example. But I would never, my family would never buy me a Neo Geo AES. They were like $800 or whatever, or a Jaguar. So if I had like unlimited money, I guess I would love to go back and just buy other consoles that I was not able to own as a kid. I would love to do that.
So pick one.
If I had to pick one, oh man, I do not own a PlayStation 1. I never owned one. I always played it from, going to my buddy's house. That's a system that I know I love a lot of the games. And, obviously, I can always do emulation and whatnot, but I think I'd love to own like an actual PS1, like a physical one.
It's an unpopular take, but I've told Terry before and some other people. My hot take is I like the PS1 more than I like the PS2. I don't know what it is.
Same here.
It's dumb because the PS2 is the PS1 plus. You get the DVD
Right.
player and that huge PS2 library. But I like just being able to focus on like that console's library. Plus, like that thing looks like an old school console, and it's real satisfying seeing. You get the boot up screen too on the PS2, but the controller's nicer. It's got a kind of more reliable design. That I know the slim models and the bigger models are always breaking down. So I just know, like, my sister got me my PS1 years ago, and it's still working to this day. And it's amazing because I've just left that thing to get dust. But I'm happy about that. The games themselves are damn expensive, but
Yeah.
it's
No,
something.
that's the one you have, the OG PS1. That's the one I like because it brings a lot of memories. Because all my buddies had the OG PS1. I don't think I ever met, and like none of my friends had the slim model or anything. So I like the big one,
Yeah, the bulky model. It's
the
reliable.
bulky. Yep.
So, do you feel that most modern games have satisfied you? You framed it a certain way. I'm not remembering exactly, but you said that you're looking for like those newer experiences. Do you feel like they have generally succeeded, or are there times you've been disappointed?
No, I think it's hit or miss. There are games out there that people really love that I don't necessarily like, and vice versa. I think and this applies to every generation. I'm not gonna say, oh, back in the day, the Super Nintendo was the perfect system. I think every system, every generation, they have their own great games and stinkers. But yeah, I mean, same applies with this new generation. There are games that I don't really care too much about that are maybe popular, like Destiny, for example. I try to get into the Destiny games. I can see why they're addicting. They have great graphics and whatnot, but for some reason I didn't like them, and everyone else seems to like those games. So that's an example, I guess.
Is so? Is there any game that you liked recently that maybe other people don't really talk about? A hidden gem, if you will.
Let's see. I guess like immediate game. I recently got a PS5, and I only have one PS5 game, and that game comes preloaded with the system, and that game is Astro's Playroom. That game, it blew me away. Like it's one of the best platformers I played in recent memory, and I don't think I hear people talking about that game as much as, in my opinion, people should be talking. It's just a great game, very fun, and makes a perfect use of the DualSense PS5 controller.
I played the VR version a little bit, and I really enjoyed it, but I just hate putting the damn VR headset on. I feel like I can't see anything for 15 minutes. So it's really cool that they made like just a standalone game for the Astrobot series. I think that's really untapped potential. So I'm happy to hear that too. I saw some footage from VG Mashup, I think, in his PS5 video, and yeah, you could see like the little Astrobot guy flying around on like model PlayStation systems. I was like, oh, that's cool.
I love it, man. I love it, and trust me, the DualSense 5 controller, it makes that game just stand out because the tactile rumble and feedback that you get from the controller is just amazing. But I agree with you regarding the VR. I own a PS4 VR, but that thing barely got any use just because of how convoluted it is to put the headset on, and you have all these wires. To the point when I was setting up my PS5 and I got rid of my PS4. I was kind of looking forward to the extra horsepower of the PS5 to improve my PS4 VR because I think it gives a little bit of a boost. But I was like, nope, I'm gonna put it in the box and just, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it now. It's just setting that thing up is just a nightmare with all the wires.
That's a free $300 if you sell it.
Oh man, I might sell it because I know Sony is working on the next gen VR headset or whatever, and supposedly you're not gonna need a camera for it, and it's gonna have less wires and whatnot. So if they can do one and it's backwards compatible with the PS4 VR games, sign me up. I'll buy one, day one.
Yeah, that would be one of those great things to try it before you buy it, though, because that thing is a mess and it just takes up space. So I'm with you.
I know. It's so bulky, and yeah, it takes a ton of room. But yeah, it should be nice if they can maybe reduce the footprint and reduce the amount of wires and whatnot.
I agree with that. How do you like do you feel the PS5 is doing self-justice right now? I don't even know how long things been out, but are you content with where it's at?
No, I don't think it's necessary for me. For me, it was I want to get a PS4 Pro. I've been meaning to get a PS4 Pro for ever since it came out, and just the kind of like the frugal and me kept saying I already have a PS4, but ever since I got a new TV right there, a 4K compatible TV, I was craving to have something that can play my PS4 games in 4K and full definition, whatnot. So my PS5 right now is just a glorified PS4. I'm a huge Demon Souls fan, but that game is $70, and I think it's worth it because it's a great game. But I'm gonna wait until Black Friday. Like, I don't mind waiting. $20, $25. Yeah. I don't mind waiting. Ratchet and Clank, it's coming out next month. It's gonna be $70. Nope, Black Friday purchase for me. So I'm just gonna wait until all those games get down to like $20, $25, $30 and go from there.
In the meantime, you can continue enjoying the PS4 games on there, so that's always a saving grace.
Yep.
Hey, I want to clarify just about this. You're Star Fox fan, right?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about like the future of Star Fox?
And based on Zero, maybe not very good, because Zero, I think the last Star Fox game was in a rough position. It came out on the Wii U, which onto by itself, the console did not sell a whole lot, and therefore any game that came out for the Wii U was never going to sell a lot. And then the game wasn't what we all expected to be. I don't think it's a full stinker. I think there were some pretty redeemable levels in that Star Fox game, but I think based on the amount of reviews and the low sales, I think the future is kind of dicey for the series.
So if you could get another Star Fox game, what would you want?
Man, I know it's going to sound boring, but Star Fox 64 is one of my favorite games of all time. If I can get something like that, which Star Fox for the Wii U had some of those components. In a way, it was kind of like a reimagining of certain levels from 64. I just want something simpler like that. Maybe having more of the open flight, levels, where they're kind of like arenas where you
all
have
range.
the all range mode. Yeah, that'll be maybe good. I haven't played. What was the game where they have a cameo appearance on the Switch with the toys? The Ubisoft game.
Oh, Starlink.
I haven't played that. I'm curious to see if they incorporated some things that could be fun to move into the Star Fox series. But that's on my to play list on the Switch.
I played the PS4 one, and I like want to play the Switch one because I know Star Fox has the cameos and he has his own like fully integrated story segments. But I don't know. Like I played the game and it was okay while I played it, but it is a Ubisoft game, you know. And I don't even know what that means. I just know people say that as a thing. It's a Ubisoft game. So I have that feeling after having played it. So I just find it hard pressed to go back and play it. But I'm with you. Keep it arcadey, keep it simple, keep it fun, keep it engaging. You know, they had such a great formula. I think if they could just go back to that, people would probably gravitate back to it.
I think so. Yeah, just keep it simple. Try to avoid the gimmicks. I know Nintendo, they love using their gimmicks, you know, the motion controls and the rumbles, whatever they come up with. But if they can try and keep it simple and arcadey, like you're saying, I think old fans from the series are going to gravitate towards it.
For sure. Probably will never happen, but one can only hope.
Yep.
Well, that's a sour note to go out on, but Bruno, it has been great having you. I love the discussion. Viewers in the audience, you can check him out on his YouTube channel, SNES Mapper. We've also got some great podcasts with him over on The Button Mappers. Any last thoughts for the viewers?
No, not really. Just thanks for the invite. Love your show, and you know, great to be a part of it. Enjoyable discussion as always. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Pleasure having you. All right, favorite Star Fox quote. Go.
Do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll. All right. You heard it here first, folks. Do barrel roll. All right.
Never give up. Trust your instincts.
Yep. And you're becoming more like your father.
Yep.